Well, the Sims 4 Life and Death expansion seems to be the most promising one we have had in a very long time. There seems to be a lot in this pack that might make it actually worth getting. And there are also many angles of intrigue in this pack, which is very refreshing. So today I'm going to take you through a few of those that we saw in the recent live stream. I shall impart some of the information they gave and we shall have some more discussions about this stuff. The topics in this video will be the Grimm career and his offspring, the intrigue of the worlds in Ravenwood, particularly Morningvale, and of course Rebirth, and that particular question has been answered. So let's get into it, shall we? So the first thing I want to show you is the resulting fruit of Grimm. Yes, Grimmborn is now a thing. If you have, tried for baby with Grimm and been successful, the resulting child will now have the new Grimmborn trait. Grimmborn, the offspring of the Grim Reaper, carry an air of mystique. A scythe-shaped birthmark on their neck serves as a haunting reminder of their otherworldly lineage and their inevitable connection to the cycle of life and death. So this little lady here is none other than the daughter of Grimm, and she has a birthmark. And here it is. It appears under the ear on the neck there, and it is the mark of Grimm. Oh dear. He brands his children. The cool thing is that these Sims have an extended lifespan as well. And another cool thing is that any descendants of theirs, at least for a few generations, will also have a particular trait, although they don't get the extended lifespan or birthmark, but they will get a trait called the Descendant of Grimm. And I think, yeah, that's pretty neat. So speaking of the Grim Reaper, the old GR, Grimmaroony, we also got to see what it's like to spend a day in the Grim Reaper career at level 9, which of course is a lot different to when you first begin. So Grimm's workplace is called the Headless Headquarters, which we've seen as the NWDD in the trailer. So you get there by way that you normally would when you go to an active career. So when it's time for your job to commence, you'll get this little pop-up, Death Calls. Woo! It's time for Summer to head to work. Care to join her, or should Summer reap alone? And of course, you press on join and off we go. And then you load into Headless Quarters. Did I say Headless Headquarters before? Ha! Anyway, as you can see, you get the usual for these sort of active careers, a little work day up here. But first, I shall clear a little something up, which I think I got a bit incorrect in previous videos. You see, this place here I thought might be actually Netherworld. But that is when I presumed that this here portal was what got you to this here location. But that is in fact not correct. We've seen how you actually get here, but this portal itself is to actually go to Netherworld, which leads me to obviously believe that this place where the Headless Quarters exists is not actually Netherworld. Now, part of me is extremely disappointed because I would like to see Netherworld in action. But the other part of me thinks, yeah, okay, that makes sense. This here leads to Netherworld. You don't get to see Netherworld. And this portal here, they release the souls into Netherworld. So it's the same as the old school version of clicking on a gravestone. And this very mysterious Netherworld is the final resting place of the soul, the final destination, the final home, perhaps. So if we don't get to see Netherworld, which is slightly vexing, admittedly, I like to think that it's like so intense, so immense, maybe the definition of infinity, maybe a little too abstract for our Sims minds to comprehend, maybe so illustrious it would take far more pixels than the Sims 4 has, that we just cannot comprehend nor see it. However, this portal gives us a glimpse here. Now, I'm also going to assume that, wherever this place is, which I assume is somewhere between the real world and Netherworld, we've got the thinly veiled realm in Ravenwood. One neighborhood is particularly thinly veiled, and that is where the Baleful Bog is, but more on these neighborhoods and their purposes later. But perhaps this is the next step. Like another realm, but a stepping stone, perhaps you could call it, between the real world and Netherworld. And this is where Grimm's headquarters is. But yes, the ever enigmatic netherworld seems now like it's going to remain a complete enigma. Anyway, this is what the actual, whatever on earth you want to call the place that the Grim Reaping headquarters is in, you know, Headless Quarters. Look at it. It sort of reminds me of the realm of magic where it's sort of like separate from things. But look at this in the distance here. It looks pretty cool though, this place, I must say, no matter what the nature of it, this sort of like zone. I suppose, you know, when you think about the magic realm, like where on earth is that technically? Is this sort of like another sort of place similar to that in sort of another, well, realm for a lack of better word to find it? So this is the Grim career here. We've got some sort of stuff on the wall here, sort of, you know, motivational stuff for the employees. Of course, there looks like there's Grim's desk here. And you can collect a reward. Let's go back a little and have a little gander at that. Oops, shoot, I have gone to the wrong place. Here we go. So it looks like here that this is where you can collect your rewards. If you hit your soul quota for, is it the month or the week? I can't remember. Release souls. Maybe it's this. You got to release 10 souls and then you get your quota. I don't know. But yeah, get some rewards. Ooh la la. That looks like a Ridger Grim, perhaps. And there's someone on a computer. Everything's very, you know, black gothic looking, pretty cool. So what else they have at work is various things that they did show us. And as we can see, this sim here has a relationship with the boss, Grim Reaper. That is spicy on so many levels, might I say. And, you know, obviously some exciting potential gameplay, especially considering what we just saw can come of it with the old driver baby. Oh, I wonder if there's anywhere on premises where you could do that with Grim without needing Wicked Whims, of course. Oh, what happens with Wicked Whims in Grim? Oh boy. Anyway, moving right along, something, something, I don't know that song. So they showed us some of the crow. Oh, hang on, what's the name of Grim's crow? This is Grim's crow here. It had a name, it probably has a name. Oh, hang on, I've balked up, let me go back. Oh, here we go. Grim Deluxe Ascendant Crow. Alrighty then. Okay. Not what I was expecting. Can we call him Grim Deluxe for short? Hopefully. Let's see what else is in the workplace, shall we? So this is the roll wall, where apparently this has something to do with Employee of the Month, but they said that Grim's always the Employee of the Month. So rigged. But yes, whatever it is a feature. Look at this nice black version of the grandfather clock there. I have such mixed feelings about grandfather clocks. I think they're so freaking cool, and yet one cannot deny they're kind of creepy at the same time. I guess that's why they're in this pack. Sort of fits the shoe? No. Fits the mood, fits the theme. I don't know. I'll move on from that one, shall I? Oh yeah, this was a good one here. So this is not a deceased patron. This is a dummy where you can practice your reaping on. How funny is that? I found that one quite amusing myself. And so practice reaping, yep, as you do. I mean, that's a pretty good idea, gotta say, you know. And these little, oh, whoa. And then we've got the little, you know, we've always had sort of a Grim Gnome, haven't we? I don't know if this is a different edition, but he's kind of cute in a morbid way, isn't he? Look at his little glowing eyes there. Oh, let's keep going. So we're going to go on to what I forget the name of, but it's for your assignment. You know, dip your little hand in the swirly crow pool here. It's like a bird bath with a crow. I'm sure it has a name. But this is where you can get an assignment, and this is where it gets a bit interesting. Oh, you can also potentially look for lost souls in there as well. Interesting. Few multi-dimensions there. And let's see what becomes of her little attempt at an assignment here. So this is her assignment for the day, is to get an assignment. Assignment Inception. And here she comes along to do the swirlies in the swirl bird bath pool of swirliness there. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Okie dokie. Let's have a look at this. Ah, yes. So there's many different options you can get apparently, but her first assignment is to go and find some Sims who have been offed by a cow plant. So let's go see that, shall we? Okay, so the first assignment we get to see. So we're in Papa Stone Park in Brindleton Bay. I call it Brindlebork Bay sometimes. Fun fact there. And this is obviously the scene of the event, shall we say. Oh dear. So over she goes and she finds the source of her assignment, shall we say. And we have, oh dear, 4 Sims who have succumbed to the curse of mortality. And there's the cheeky cow plant who is the culprit over there with its little luring cake here, the cakey cow trap. And yes, so we've got 4 unfortunate souls. Oh, that was bad. Fun but bad. Let's have a look what happens. Investigate cause of death. Hang on. Investigate cause of death and determine cause of death. So to determine cause of death, we must investigate. Now, as they said themselves in the stream, it's pretty obvious what's happened here, but still, obviously, there's some paperwork to do. We must go through the formalities anyway. But she's decided to have a little game of chess here just to warm up her brain before she investigates the cause of death. That's, obviously what's going on here. Let's have a squiz as we go around. So there, we must investigate first. That is a lot on the pie wheel. Let's have a little examination. Check pockets. Check position of body. Check position of limbs. I'm not going to lie, it sounded pretty sinister at first, but then when you read along, you sort of get what they're doing. They're checking the evidence of how this sim perished. Oh boy, oh boy. Check for stains. Once again, it just gets worse and worse, doesn't it? Let's just keep going, shall we? We'll let them determine the cause of death. And now that she's done her investigation on the 4 unfortunate souls, Summer has investigated the sim and surrounding evidence thoroughly determines cause of unaliving is now available for her to confidently prescribe. It sort of reminds me of the doctor's career, doesn't it? Where you examine different areas of, or should I say different symptoms and then come to the conclusion of what sickness they have. Well, this has taken it a few steps further, I daren't say. Let's see what she comes up with. I wonder what it'll be. Well, this perishing was caused by a cowplant devourment. Falsified cake, the ultimate betrayal. Oh, that is mean, falsified cake. Nobody can deny that. Well, now we've got to see a little bit of the actual reaping of the Reaper career. Apparently, there's such details as the actual victims themselves. So sometimes they're just going to be like this crew here and randomly generated, but sometimes there might be sims that your sim actually knows. And, when that happens, when there's someone speaking of things happening, look at this. So it's it's time to reap the souls, but you know what? I'd rather just go over and play chess because I'm a sim. That is classic stuff, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, so sometimes there might be sims that actually have a relationship with your sim or you know them somehow. And in that instance, you will actually get the choice to spare them or not. So if you don't want them to shuffle from that mortal coil, you can spare them, so it's okay. But yeah, you might see somebody near and dear to you has succumbed to some sort of misfortune and you'll get to decide their fate. Well, that's some power in your hands there, but yes, she's doing the reap maneuver there. She's reaping these poor people here, all of them at once too. I mean, wow, they must have been fighting for that cake. Maybe that was the real downfall there, is nobody wanted to share. They were all having a little, cake-a-thon? I don't know, Anyway, so she's going to reap them. And then she's collecting their souls so she can put them through the portal that actually leads to the very mysterious netherworld instead of it being, from real life to the netherworld that isn't a netherworld, otherwise known as the headquarters. I know it's getting confusing now. So, yes, so we get to see what this is actually intended for. I do not know why I thought there was 2 of them and not 1, but you can release these souls to netherworld. And unfortunately, we don't get to see a little glimpse into netherworld. She just puts them into the beautiful rainbow there, and there we are. Bye-bye, souls. Hope you have a nice existence in whatever grandiose delights await in netherworld, hopefully. So after that, there is more to do during the day, like analyze death trends and plan reaping schedules. For the analyze death trends, you go into the computer. It's quite an archaic computer for wherever realm this is, but hey, maybe the realm's been around so long they just haven't bothered to update the technology. I don't know. So you analyze some trends and, that's one of the things as well. And you might have a pop-up such as the one that's here. There's mortal life. Get it? There's mortal life. Stats say the death by killer rabbit is not trending as high as it could be. Oh, that's a shame. This gives Summer an idea. What if Grim could start a petting zoo featuring these fluffy little monsters? Well, she's rather diabolical, isn't she? That's horrible. Oh no. This idea could certainly increase the stats, but how could we promote this endeavor? Yeah, exactly. Surely we would need to warn Sims of the potential danger, or do we? Okay, these are the sort of gems you could get. Advertisers of fluffy pet warn Sims of the danger. So, well, these are, different angles to go. So this is just another example of what I assume is like the many different things you might get in this active career as you progress through it. So hopefully that gives a little glimpse into what it's actually like. So after that little gem fest, I want to talk to you some more about the world itself, and the different neighborhoods and what they mean in reference to this whole veil between life and death concept. So the concept is that each of the 3 neighborhoods represent a proximity to life and the afterlife. This one with the little flower motif over here is called Whispering Glen. And it is the most grounded in normal life reality, if that's a way to put it. This here is Raven's Crossing, and this is somewhere in the middle where ghosts and the living sort of coexist in equal portions of their elements. And this is due to the veil being particularly thin in this neighborhood. But over here, and we even have it separated by this mysterious fog, over here, this world is called Morning Vale, and this is where our baleful bog resides. And this is a source of intrigue. This is the neighborhood that is described as the afterlife. They say it looks different and even time is different here. You can tell from the fog and everything, it has a certain look to it. And they say that this place is a glimpse behind the veil. Let's go and investigate, shall we? So it also contains the nightclub of the world, Club Eternity, and it looks pretty freaking cool if I do say so. It's got a lot of deceased patrons partying like it's their last day in the afterlife. I don't know. That one didn't quite work out, but you can sort of see this neighborhood and how sort of different it is and how ghostly it is. Now, as I said before, it has been deemed that this is actually the afterlife, which explains the ghosts and a lot of the phenomenon around here. But the perplexing thing is that live Sims can still come here and they can still live here to the best of my knowledge. So it's not like any afterlife that you would normally hear about where you have to have passed on to actually go there. So this is an interesting thing. So, I mean, we know that Netherworld exists as well. So Netherworld's like the ultimate afterlife, I guess. And this, they say the veil is lifted. So is this place sort of like in the physical sense, like the buildings, the structures and the actual land, originally the land of the living, but then because the veil has completely lifted, the afterlife has completely imbued it with its qualities? I don't know. That's an interesting one though, isn't it? What else I got to tell you? Let's have a look. So they described it as sort of like the afterlife, and ghosts like to live here, as you could see at the club there. And even the fishies here are just skeletal fishies, but they're still so cute somehow, aren't they? Fishy. You wouldn't get much for your fish and chips though if you decided to catch them and try and do them and eat. But you can see just the world is like very different looking. This mist is really cool, and some people, perhaps definitely myself, might call the mist atmospheric. So we'll read oh look, there's a cow plant ghost. It's a ghostly cow plant. Cow plants are still cute, even though they're dangerous, and so is the ghostly cow plant. There's something about them. It's like the creepy version of cute or the cute version of creepy, either way. So we're going to go and read the description of this neighborhood to try and grasp the concept furthermore. Now, there is a certain place, which is a clock tower, which apparently like rings at weird hours and sort of like gives you the spooks. And also the city halls in at least 2 of the 3 that I know of, neighborhoods that is. And I'm hoping that you can get some information on what is going on with this neighborhood by reading the ancient archives. We can only hope. So one must ask, is this sort of like closer to the real world than where the Reapers do their work, but then still further away from normal life than everywhere else? Is there like stepping stones and Netherworld is the most otherworldly that there is, but this is still described as otherworldly, as we'll see. Also, there's a sort of place where the ghost support group can happen. I think it's actually in the form of a festival. So if you're a ghost, it seems like this is the place to be. So this is the write-up for Morning Vale. There's something otherworldly about Morning Vale. Maybe it's the way the wind howls through the moss-draped trees, the eerie clang from the bell tower at odd hours, or the sentient plants. No matter the reason, many ghosts choose to call this place home. The Grim Reaper has even been known to wander through now and then. Sims can find the baleful bog here, investigate the tarot tome shrine by the bell tower, or listen to the whispers of the guardian of Tree and Alice. Yeah. So it seems like it's a very special place, really. So this is the one thing I want to show you about Whispering Glen is this guy here. This is actually the ancestor, this dude rock here. And apparently sometimes his expression changes. Like if you saw it before, he's actually having a little cry. And I think it's because there's a full moon apparently. So there's definitely something going on there and definitely some lore. And the final place is Crow's Crossing, where you can find Edith the child here, who may or may not be happy with your presence. And there's that wishing well. And they've got these little spectres that float around, and they've got the gothic swings, which can actually swing by themselves. And a very important tidbit of information is that one of the spectres is named Freddy. But perhaps even more interesting, to me at least, is that there is actually a goat statue over here. Its name's apparently Moppy, and it's somehow a town founder, and I am all for that. And speaking of goats, we have that fantastic goat fountain over here, which I just can't wait to have in my game. So, you know, of all the worlds, yeah, sure, it's intriguing with the baleful bog and all, but do they have a goat fountain? I don't think so. So, the only thing more appealing than a goat fountain is the prospect of rebirth, which we are about to go into. And like I said before, there is more to discover. And here it is, Double B, the fantastic looking place with the terrible name. So there's quite a lot of options here. You can actually just go for a swim in the baleful bog. Wouldn't it be beautiful for a mermaid to be swimming around the baleful bog? That would be nice. Oh, ghost mermaids. Imagine like a pretty see-through ghost mermaid swimming in the baleful bog. Anyway, I'll stop that tangent there because we're about to go through Rebirth. Now, my new understanding of Rebirth. It has slightly changed, but first just let me say that yes, that question has been answered. The question was, is Rebirth a one and done feature, or can a sim rebirth as many times as they like? And they can rebirth as many times as they like. The devs were actually talking about how they'd like to see a 100 rebirth challenge. So there it is. I'm massively excited about that. Now, my first assumption about rebirth is that you had to have the burning soul trait to actually rebirth, but now I think you might actually be able to rebirth if you've just completed your bucket list, and then I think the burning soul trait may come if you have completed your unfinished business as a ghost, then you get the trait, but I'm just not sure. I think that's how it goes. And I think that this burning soul trait is what actually gives you those cool interactions as a reborn sim, like recalling past lives and stuff. Apparently they said it's a more powerful form of rebirth, I think. So that is my current understanding. Now I'm pretty much definitely set on getting this pack at this point in time. So if that's wrong, you know, I'll find out the answers eventually. Now, let's find out some more stuff about the reborn sim. So you can be put into a family, obviously, or into a household, or I suppose it depends on your age. You can actually just have a fresh house on your own as well. So that's a cool little thing. Now, of course, there's the infant version there. And now we have different options as well. So first of all, your sim is going to look like they did in their previous life. And you can choose to leave them that way, and they can always be born that way and be any age you want, or you can actually play with the genetics of the household. Like in this instance, this would be the genetic daughter of the Goths. Now, of course, you can still tinker with your sim normal styles the way you normally would to make them look however you like, but this is really cool. So if you're not happy with what you've done, you've made a boo-boo, you live in regret, you can just press this little circle of life here and you reset your sim to resemble past life. Now, you can also edit the relationships to the household members to be whatever you want as well. Of course, your sim can be any age. You can do the walk style, the traits, the whole shebang. Or you can do an occult, because that is a thing now. You can make them the same as they were, but an occult or your new version and an occult. And if you even want to, you can get them reborn as a ghost, which is a perplexing notion indeed. It's like you have been a ghost, but you get reborn into another ghost. I mean, that's just bypassing your other life. If you just like being a ghost, don't want to deal with your life again, but feel like a bit of a change. I guess that's the path you would take. Now, one of the more interesting things they spoke about the rebirth mechanics and everything is that your sim could have moments of deja vu from your past life in regards to other sims. For example, if they had a soulmate in a past life and you're reborn as a sim who is, not related to them, you can actually rediscover that relationship. Now, that made me wonder, will that work if both those soulmates are reborn, or does the other soulmate that's not the deceased one have to still be as they originally were? Why do I want to know this? Because Sailor Moon storylines, hello. If both the reborn sims remember each other, that would be amazing, but I don't know if it goes that deep. So that is my new burning question about burning souls. Now, they also said that it will work with friendship as well. If you had a really good friend in a past life, then you may rekindle that friendship, or you may actually remember them somehow, which is very trippy. They worded it as you will find them again. Now, I do not know how all this works, but that is my new form of intrigue for this feature. Now, as we just saw the little infant coming out of the sky, they said that if you are reborn as a more adult sim, there is a chance that that animation's going to fail and you can just face plant into the pavement apparently, or it can work out nice like this. And then they said that when the new family member arrives, the new family realizes they have a new family member, so it's a nice story moment. And I'm thinking, hang on, that might have been a moodlet just there. Let's investigate. There it is, a new sim from Reborn Sim appearing. Oh, I've been wondering what would happen here because it's such a bizarre thing to happen when you actually stop to think about it. Especially if the sim's an older sim coming out of the sky. I mean, you can kind of perhaps write off an infant to the stork arriving or something. But when you got like grandpa falling from the heavens, I don't know how you sort of mentally deal with that. But let's see what they say. This sim seemingly dropped from the sky, but Mortimer is long past the point of questioning. Excellent. Instead, it's time to welcome this intriguing new addition to the household with open arms. Excellent. So they embrace and sort of like acknowledge the fact that it is quite strange, but the household likes it. So that's great. So this is still my favorite feature that comes with this pack. And knowing these new things makes it even more exciting. And now I just have that one new question to hopefully be answered. At this point, the pack is looking very good compared to its predecessors. So here's hoping that it is everything it appears to be, and that we finally get a pack with some exciting features that actually feels like a real expansion again. Well, that is all for today's video. Of course, there was a lot more shown and there is a lot more in this pack, but those are the things I wanted to focus on at this time around. I hope you have or have had a good Halloween and also a wonderful day or night. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.